disappointed that I came to Canada, a Canada that it is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship. Okay? You ran a campaign where, it was anti-American, elbows up, me too. It was an anti-American campaign. That has continued. That's disappointing.
You do not come into America and start running political ads, government-funded political ads, and expect that there will be no consequences or reaction from the United States of America and the Trump administration. It has, as far as we can tell, it has never happened in America before. And if Canada wants to insert itself and create a new precedent that you're going to participate in our electoral politics through advertising targeting the President of the United States and his policies, I would suggest that you seriously consider whether that is the best way to try to achieve your objectives in the United States of America.
In an interview with the National Post, the new U.S. ambassador to Canada commented on the threats to Canada's sovereignty from our southern neighbors.
From my standpoint, from the president's standpoint, 51st states not coming back. The president may bring it up every once in a while, but he recognizes it's not going to happen unless the prime minister engages with the president.
Work with us on economic issues, work with us on the friendships and the relationships that we have on a personal basis around the world, and work with us on security issues so that we can deliver for the people that own our countries, and we can rebuild the trust that they demand. And we will be amazed at what we can accomplish in a very short period of time.
If Canadian provinces were to put back the American alcohol on the shelves, would that, would that lead to a tariff relief from the United States?
No, I mean, we think the alcohol ban is totally unfair. It's a clear indicator of how 11 provinces feel about trade with the United States. They're sending a very, very clear message about how doing business with the United States doesn't appeal to them. The Prime Minister has reinforced that message, okay? And so it creates some questions about, does Canada really want to do business with the United States? So here you've got folks who are doing everything they can to get the Canadian public to rally against America. It just doesn't make any sense. I think Canadians like the pre-clearance process who are saying, Pete, the numbers are down. Matter of fact, the numbers are down. We're not sure we can make the numbers work anymore because this is pre-clearance is something that is done at the expense of the U.S. government. We pay for it.
Minutes ago when you said pre-clearance, well, pre-clearance was brought in by Eisenhower and it's worked really well. But Canadians go to the States. Maybe not as many as did, a year and a half ago or half a year ago, but we're still going an awful lot. We're your biggest source of tourism. If you end pre-clearance, doesn't that cut off your nose to spite your face?
Nobody said we were ending pre-clearance. Well, don't put words in my mouth.
No, well, I'm just asking because I heard you say we have to look at it.
These are all business people.
Yeah.
All right? If you have a business segment that is down 20 to 25%, all right?
And you wonder why.
What's that?
But do you know why?
And so, why did you do tariffs? Well, we had structural problems, okay? In that one of the fastest growing things since the advent of free trade have been non-tariff trade barriers. And so to restore our manufacturing and our economy again, we needed to deal with these non-tariff trade barriers. We needed to deal with some of the issues that came up with free trade and those kinds of things to move forward. So yes, we have done it, but we've done it with everybody in the world.
If you love Canada like I do, then this story may infuriate you. So a voter identification app which is being used by Alberta separatists and is under investigation because it may be illegal has been linked to U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra. Hoekstra previously promoted the use of the app whilst he was chair of the Michigan Republican Party. When questioned about the use of the app, Hoekstra said that he didn't know that it was being used by Alberta separatists, and he denied any financial involvement in the app.
Family, at the center of the controversy is the future of CUSMA, known in the United States as U.S. MCA, and the trade agreement that governs economic relations between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And so the agreement has become a major flashpoint as President Donald Trump continues to argue that America has been treated unfairly in international trade. Now, recent comments from Trump suggesting that the United States does not need anything from Canada sent shockwaves through political circles and even raised serious questions about the future of North American trade relations. And so then came Pete Hoekstra's response. Speaking at the major summit, the U.S. ambassador suggested that Canada should put on its sales hat and make a stronger case for why America should continue its close economic partnership with its northern neighbor. And so he essentially argued that Canada needs to convince Washington that maintaining deep trade ties is in America's interest. And so to supporters of the administration, this was simply tough negotiating. And to critics, however, it sounded like pressure and perhaps even a warning. And so the reaction was immediate. Family. Across Canada, people questioned why a longtime ally should have to prove its value to the United States. And after all, the two countries share one of the largest trading relationships on the planet. And so billions of dollars worth of goods cross the border every day. Millions of jobs depend on that economic partnership. And so Canadian energy powers American industries. Canadian minerals support American manufacturing. Canadian products help feed American consumers. And in many ways, the economies are deeply interconnected. And what makes this story especially really interesting is that Hoekstra's comments appeared to contradict some of the rhetoric coming from Washington. And while President Trump argued that America does not need Canada, Hoekstra himself acknowledged that the United States benefits from Canadian oil, fertilizer components, automobiles, critical minerals, and even other resources. And so that contradiction has fueled debate about what the administration's real strategy might be. And so some observers believe that the remarks are part of a broader negotiating tactic, but creating uncertainty, the United States may be attempting to gain leverage ahead of future trade discussions. And so others argue that repeatedly questioning Canada's value risks damaging trust between the two countries. And trust, after all, is not something that can be measured in trade statistics. And so it is built over decades and can be weakened surprisingly really quickly. And so the timing is also significant. Family. Canada has increasingly discussed diversifying its trade relationships and even reducing its dependence on the United States. And so political leaders have openly acknowledged that relying too heavily on a single trading partner creates vulnerabilities. And every new dispute strengthens arguments from those who believe that Canada should look elsewhere for economic opportunities. Now, meanwhile, many Canadians are asking a simple question. If the United States truly does not need Canada, why does Washington continue emphasizing trade negotiations, critical minerals, energy security, and even supply chain cooperation? And so the answer may reveal that the reality behind the political rhetoric, despite the heated language, both countries remain heavily dependent on one another in ways that cannot easily be replaced. And so this is why the controversy surrounding Pete Hoekstra remarks has attracted so much attention. It's about far more than a single speech of single ambassador. It is about the future direction of one of the world's most important bilateral relationships. And so will economic cooperation prevail, or will political tensions continue to grow? Now, from now, neither side appears ready to completely walk away from the partnership, and so the economic stakes are simply too high firmly. But as negotiations continue and political rhetoric intensifies, one thing is really becoming clear firmly. The relationship between Canada and the United States is entering a new chapter, one defined by tougher bargaining, greater uncertainty, and even growing questions about what the future will look like.